Hello and welcome. 1961 was a very good year for me. That's the year I actually joined the human race. Yes, that's my birth year. Yeah, I hit 1961 right at the end of the year, but I still had 9 days left of oxygen to breathe in the year 1961. So it's one of my favorite years. But 1961 is also a really important year to science fiction. Because that's the year that Solaris was published originally by Stanislaw Lem. And I just finished this read a few days ago. I buddy read this with Mark over at Richardson Reads. Mark and I had buddy read Definitely Maybe by the Strugatsky brothers earlier this year. So this book, Solaris, is a work of classic science fiction that I've been actually meaning to read for years, and I put it on my priority reading list this year for 2018 under the reading theme of classic science fiction. So this was one of my choices for classic science fiction to get read this year. Like I said, it was originally published in 1961 in Polish, and this particular edition that I read was translated by Bill Johnston and published in 2017. I was not completely wild about this cover until I noticed it's a series by the publisher, and so here's a few more. Now I have a whole new respect for that cover art because I think I read this book electronically, but if I had a whole shelf of these Lem books with these covers, I think that would just be awesome. This isn't all of them. It's just the best picture I could find. This is the picture that actually includes our Solaris right there. But aren't those covers awesome? I think that would be so great to have all this, an entire complete Lem collection in this edition with this cool cover art. But yeah, so glad that I got to this in 2018. What it's about? So it's one of these books that I can't give away hardly any of the plot because the book is written such that it sort of unfolds to the reader and it builds a certain pace and a certain tension. And this tension starts right at the beginning of the book and really never lets up. It's not, I wouldn't say harrowing too much, but it is suspenseful and there is a degree of tension there. So, but what the basic story is, our main character, whose name is Chris Kelvin, is a psychologist, and he's being sent to this planet. This is the far distant future. He's being sent to this ocean world where there is a research station because I guess the humans have gotten some idea that there's some kind of trouble going on there among the 3 researchers that are stationed there. So he is sent there to really investigate this, what's going on there. And so we follow him to his journey to the planet, and then when he's there on the research station. So other than that, I don't want to give away anything else about the planet, other than the fact that it's an ocean world. There's only tiny little bits of really solid land, I think. I got the impression. And the rest of it is just an ocean world. So it's pretty featureless as far as that goes. But definitely something's going on at the station. Our main character, Chris Kelvin, just sort of gets involved with this over time. It is a slow pace sort of structure that sort of draws him into. It's a mystery right off the bat. Right when he meets the first character, there's a mystery like, why is this person behaving this way? He's saying these like cryptic remarks that you don't know what they mean, and the main character doesn't know what they mean either. And so you sort of go on this journey of discovery with the main character, Chris. So I don't want to say anything else about the plot because I think it would really, to know much more about the book than that might really impact the reading experience. There have been 2 different movie adaptations of this book. The first one, Solaris, was by Andrei Tarkovsky, and that was from 1972. And then there was a movie adaptation by Steven Soderburgh, was the director, back in 2002, and George Clooney played our lead character, Chris Kelvin. In that version, I have not seen either of these movie adaptations. Adaptations. I probably should have tried to watch one of these, at one or both of these, before doing this chat, but I sort of fell behind on my book chats to begin with, and so I didn't want to delay getting this chat out any longer than I already have, because I'm already behind. I still have another chat to do following this one, so I'm like behind the book. Anyway, I haven't seen the movies yet, but I do want to see them now, especially that I've read the book. I do think it, as far as the reading experience goes, it was a really engaging, to me, suspenseful, sort of page-turning reading experience. And so before seeing the movies, if you haven't seen the movies and you're one of these people that likes to read books before you see the movie, or think you might like the book better than the movie or whatever, I think it might be definitely a book to read before you would see the movie. I'm not sure how, because since I haven't seen the movies, I couldn't say that for sure. But anyway, 2 movie adaptations I haven't seen either. So just some thoughts about the story. So this is kind of a context story, but not a traditional context story. I think that rather than go into a lot of plots, I think, just some ideas about what the book, sort of themes that the book addresses, is that, how can we understand, Mark, whenever we were reading this, exchanged some emails about our thoughts about the books, and one thing that Mark over at Richardson Reads pointed out was, that humans really don't even understand each other. And we're of the same species, so how would we understand an alien if we can't even understand the other members of our own species? Or if you take it another step back to the rest of the animal kingdom of the earth that we co-evolved with and are related to, we have a hard time relating to them. It's been only recently that we've even granted that that the non-human animals have an inner world and are able to communicate and have their own languages and have their own communication systems and have their own inner world. They dream, they feel emotions. We as humans, because they weren't human, we didn't recognize that for centuries and for basically our entire history until fairly recently. So how would we as humans engage with aliens when we can't understand ourselves? Then another kind of common theme I think that's running through the book is our subconscious, not just understanding each other, but understanding ourselves. What is our consciousness? Or more importantly, maybe, what is our subconscious? It rules so much of our life, or it seems to influence so much of our life, and it's there. It's an ocean world, right? Like it's a Solaris world, unknown to us, inside of us. That's our subconscious. And so, these are questions like, how would we, until we understand ourselves, that saying, know thyself, maybe the better thing to say would be understand yourself. Know yourself, yes, but understanding yourself is different than knowing yourself. Understanding is a different idea, I think, and much more difficult. But an alien intelligence that doesn't have anything that we could grasp on, like animals and whatnot. We think, okay, well, they're not. They don't have the same level of intelligence or whatever. They're not on the same level of consciousness that we are somehow. We like to differentiate that because they don't have our technology. They don't have our art. But aliens wouldn't necessarily have that either. And then would they be intelligent or would they not be? How would we judge that? Where that would fall? What consciousness is? And then just trying to make sense of it. Again, about the book. So furthermore about the book, a little bit more about the book. Just the claustrophobia of it. We're set on this station. I couldn't believe how alien the whole thing felt to me. The whole place felt to me as this alien world. And it's done through really light, I think, light and movement. And this is really hard to do in written word. But this world has 2 different suns that have different kinds of light, and just this description, just this changing of light described in the book makes the world alien, made the world feel extremely alien to me. And the same thing goes like the motion of the ocean. That too, it's somehow that an ocean moving is something familiar to us because we have oceans on Earth, right? But this ocean felt really, really alien somehow. So I thought that was brilliantly done. Just that's a very difficult thing for world building to occur, you know, because I think a lot of times in science fiction, world building is political structures, it's technology, it's science, it's things like this that puts us in an alien place. And on the Solaris world, there wasn't that so much as just this still an alien feel to it, really alien feel to it. And then this claustrophobia of the station combined with the claustrophobia sometimes combined with emptiness because the station had been built for many more people and there are only 3 on there now or 4. Yeah, it's so sometimes it felt really claustrophobic on that station, and sometimes it was just this vast ringing emptiness on the station. And I thought that came across really well in the book as well. So I thought that was really a great experience. It was just a great experience to go to this station on this alien world and have this experience along with our main character, Chris Kelvin. I enjoyed it very much. This book, like I said, was written in 1961. It's a little difficult for me to understand how a book that's written that was published in the year that I was born is now considered classic. But I think that's the case. I mean, I think it's most people or many people consider this to be a work of classic science fiction. There was only one I think there's only kind of one part of it that dated it, and even it didn't feel dated because how it was interwoven in the story, and that was a telegraph. A telegraph was mentioned at one time, which, you know, telegraphs aren't really in use now, but maybe in some future, you know, world or when we're exploring outer space, we might have a use for telegraphs again. So Morse code or something, there might be a reason for that to be used. So even that didn't feel that out of place, but, you know, you don't usually see telegraphs mentioned in current science fiction books too much. But yeah, that was really the only sort of odd thing as far as time went. Otherwise, it felt really current to me. It felt really, it didn't feel dated to me really at all. So I'm really glad that this was the first of the Stanislaw Lem novels that I've ever read, believe it or not. So I do hope to get to some more of his stuff eventually as well. So got that cooking too. I'm trying to get through the Strugatsky brothers, Soviet-era science fiction from Russia, and then this one, Stanislaw Lem, Polish science fiction from the 20th century. And now I'm also reading the Chinese science fiction, which I read earlier this year, the last one of the trilogy, the Three-Body trilogy. So I'm really liking this world science fiction, exploring that a little bit more, and I hope to do a little bit more of that in the future. So stay tuned for that. What I am currently reading, I am reading, I don't know if I'll have time to pull this up, but maybe I will. Let me see if I can get it. My Kindle app sometimes doesn't really want to open very quickly anymore. I think they changed it, and my iPad is so old it doesn't want to move quickly, but let me just see if I can pull it up really quick. There we go. I'm reading Moby Dick as Philosophy, Plato, Melville, and Nietzsche by Mark Anderson. I just got started on this, so I haven't gotten very far in it at all. So I don't have much to say about it yet, but this is all about Moby Dick, you know, the philosophy in Moby Dick, and so I think it's going to be really interesting. My next planned read, I am thinking I might do a interruption read. So I will have a little bit more about my interruption reads for April on my next video that I'm going to upload very soon, probably tomorrow, on For 2,000 Years by Mikhail Sebastian, which is really the most recent book that I finished. So until then, take care.